Okay. And let's see. We recording? I think we're recording.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right, we're recording. Excellent, excellent. Dennis K here, Belize Islands Real Estate. Today I have a very special guest on the YouTube channel. Many of you know me from my investing in Belize real estate because I think it's an excellent market for many of you. But what you may not know is that I also coach several different clients around the world regarding business development, startups, and how to invest in real estate in their own home markets. So today I'm very happy to have on the podcast, on the video, Dominik. And we're going to get to know Dominik a little bit today. And I think you'll see why I wanted to have him on because you don't have to invest in Belize real estate to become a real estate investor. In fact, many people are investing in real estate in the United States, Canada, Europe, wherever they're living. And this is giving them the opportunity to build a different kind of life that allows them then to move to Belize, move to different places around the world, or just to experience a different kind of life. So, without further ado, let's give our attention. Dominik, please introduce yourself and let us know what kind of projects you're looking at getting involved in.
Yes. Hey, Dennis. Thank you for having me here. Yeah. So I'm Dominik. I'm from Germany, born and raised there. Lived there most of my life, and now actually 2 years ago, about I moved to Sweden to do my master's. My background is in industrial engineering and computer science, and I got into or interested in real estate investing about a year ago. So it started out for me with, I think, like a lot of people who got into this or getting into this with Robert Kiyosaki's books, which made me realize if I wanted to be financially free in my life, I needed to go further than just being in employment. That was not going to be sufficient. So that's how it started out for me, where I started to think about how could I build a business for myself? What is the problem I could solve, and where I could provide a solution for people that they would want to pay for. And also Robert talks about a lot about real estate in his books as well. So I came to here in Sweden, there's a big problem in housing. There's a huge housing crisis, I want to say, and there's a very tight housing market. So these two things kind of came together, that I was interested in real estate, and that this is a huge problem here in Sweden where I saw I could help solve it. And that's how I kind of got into thinking about getting into real estate investing. Yeah.
Okay, excellent, excellent. So in where you're at now, what do you see as your target market? Like, what is the opportunity to become a real estate investor in Sweden?
Yeah. So in Sweden, the housing market generally is very tight. There's a few very big players who make bigger developments for nice and luxury apartments, basically. But I live in Uppsala, which is a student city. It's maybe even harder to find housing as a student. And it's a market I know quite well. On the one hand side, Uppsala locally, the properties which are available and everything, but also just the students themselves, what students actually want to have in their housing, what needs they have, and what you maybe don't have to focus on so much. So that's why I kind of naturally ended up is in this niche of student housing here in Uppsala, Sweden.
Excellent, excellent. So what I want to tell my audience is this is really good because you didn't decide to build something hoping you had a buyer or a renter, but you actually looked at what was the need, what was missing in that target market. And then you're looking to bring forth a product that is actually needed that people already have a demand for.
Yeah.
Excellent, excellent. So just on that point, just talk to my Belize real estate audience a little bit. When you're looking at investing in a country like Belize, you want to go into an area, whether it be Ambergris Caye, Caye Placencia, wherever you're looking at, and you want to say to yourself, okay, what do people want that is currently not here, right? And then if it's not currently available, why isn't it? How can I bring it to the market? So, for example, with your project, I'm not giving away all the details because I think we're gonna want to follow you through this entire process. So, hopefully, you're gonna be a regular guest on the podcast because I want to see how you're taking it from concept right on through to completion, and then since you're looking at doing some syndications, what your exit strategy is like. So, Could you tell us kind of what you're doing right now as far as learning, skill set, research, coaching? How are you like putting all these different pieces together because you've never done this before?
Yeah, exactly. So as I said, my background is very much different from what you maybe might expect. So I don't have any real estate knowledge from a degree or anything. And the education has been kind of a journey. So when I started about a year ago, the first 6 to 8 months, I was just getting my hands on all the content in regards to real estate and real estate investing I could. I read a lot of books and consumed a lot of content. But then at some point after 6, 8 months, you get to the point where you realize you actually have to start implementing it. And that's when it changed a bit. So I was looking for investors networks and stuff here in Sweden. But as I said, there's a lot of very big players, or a number of big players, but there's not so much the small time investor, I want to say, like maybe in the US where there's a big community there. That doesn't really exist in Sweden. So I looked more into the local startup scene and startup networks, but I couldn't get, which helped a lot, but I couldn't get really any real estate guidance and real estate knowledge from there. So that's when I started to look for someone who has been there, done that, who can help me out in achieving this goal. And that's how I ultimately met you, Dennis. And we've now been working for, I think, 3 months, and in my opinion, very fruitfully. So the last few months have basically been meeting with you, Dennis, and getting the perspective of someone who's further along the journey and successfully further along the journey, to get the perspective on what's actually important in the beginning, and to also achieve consistent progress through having more accountability with someone. And then in addition to that, kind of filling in knowledge gaps that I'm still finding myself to have by doing, for example, online seminars. So what I did a few weeks ago was, for example, the Secrets of Successful Syndication seminar by the real estate guys, and doing these kinds of targeted things where in areas where I find myself to still lack some knowledge. So it's been kind of a journey, and I mean, there's a whole lot of content out there. So I think it's more about actually just diving into it and getting started. Yeah.
Excellent. Good job. So your first project is going to be approximately 4 to 8 units, right?
Yeah.
Am I correct on that? Okay. So, but what do you have plans for after that? I mean, obviously, right now you're doing a ton of work. You're putting in a lot of time, research. You built a team already, which I'm very impressed with. You already have a team of key players. But moving forward, like how do you see this playing out 5 years, 10 years, 15 years from now? What's your ultimate vision?
Yeah. So yeah, as you said, right now I'm very much in the beginning. I'm working on realizing my first project, which is going to be rather small scale, 4 to 8 apartments. And we're doing generally a twist. So what we're doing is we're building student apartments by using shipping containers, which have been remodeled into apartments. If you want to know more, you can reach out to me and we can talk about that. But the goal right now is to establish this idea here in Sweden, in Uppsala further, and build a first working project, and then from there scale up. So the idea is not to just build a pilot and have a nice story about it, but to actually make an impact on the market. The idea here is to solve the problem for the students locally. So our goal is within the next 5 years, so by the year 2025, we want to have built 1,000 of these apartments in Uppsala here in Sweden. And the general strategy is that of basically buy or build and hold. So we lease or we buy a property here, we build the apartments, and then we operate them to get the long-term cash flow. So the idea is to establish this, scale it up rather quickly, and set it up, and then to basically be able to move forward from there into other projects, into other areas, by having the stability of the cash flow long term.
Excellent. Wow. Well done. It's very exciting. Because this is something I also tell my clients, because a certain number of my clients buying and relocating to Belize are simply buying personal use properties. So they're buying a piece of land or a home or condo to use, and they're looking for some cash flow on that too, like through a rental program or using Airbnb or something like that, home away. But another certain percentage of my clients are actually real estate investors, or they want to become real estate investors, right? So for example, right now you still have a side job, which is paying the bills, right? But eventually the real estate investing is going to become your full-time job, right? It's going to be, you're going to build a massive business doing
Yeah.
this. So what I tell people who are looking to do that in either in their home markets, in US, Canada, Europe, or in Belize, is you have to start with the first project, right? You have to get that first project done, whether it be a simple piece of land, the first condo, the first apartment, home, island, whatever it is. And then once you have that, all that knowledge, once you put all that work into that one project and you start getting some cash flow, then it's very easy to add the second, third, and to scale up, like what you're looking at doing. So
Yeah.
some people look at real estate investors like Robert Kiyosaki, Ken McElroy, some of these others, the radio real estate guys, and they think, oh man, I would love to have that portfolio of properties, but it starts with the first one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, this is something I also really had to learn in the beginning is, and to understand this, it is a very slow game, but it pays off over time. I mean, I'm still working on my first project, but you learn so much and add the stuff you learn in the first few months, and then realizing that the second project, all this stuff is, you already know all these things, you have done all this research. And so you basically chop off a huge amount of time it's going to need to do the second and the third project and going forward. So it's a slow game, but I already learned it pays off. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, listen, Dominic, where can people find you? Like for my clients who are watching this video, who want to reach out, learn more about it, maybe see a pro forma, how can they best find you?
Yeah, so you can find out more about what we're doing on formorrow.com, or you can reach out to me directly at Dominik@formorrow.com, and I would be happy to give you more information about what we have, or send you a pro forma or something.
Excellent. Very good. Well, we're
And we
excited
are
to follow you
actually,
on the journey. Go ahead.
yeah, I'm going to do a quick plug here as well. We are actually about to launch a webinar, an online webinar we are going to do about investing, passive investing in Sweden. So if you're interested in that, please also reach out to me and I will keep you updated when that is launched as well. That's going to happen soon as well.
Excellent. And just for clarity, how do you spell Dominic at Formorrow? Could you spell it out?
Yeah, I'm happy to. So you spell it Dominik at formorrow.com.
All right, excellent, very good. So yeah, so any of my clients are interested in Dominic's project, seeing the performa. What I really like, and I highly encourage you to reach out to him, is because when you look at investing into any market, you're not looking at investing into a country, so to speak, or even a city, or even a neighborhood, but you're looking at investing into a very small portion of a neighborhood that you see you can make a difference in, and then scale from there, right? So like all the groundwork you've done, you've met with lawyers, you're forming businesses, you've got the big picture, right? The country, but then also the city, also the neighborhoods. You've identified a market that needs to be met. And yeah, we're looking forward to following you along. So thanks a lot for being agreeing to be interviewed today. And again, hopefully we're going to be following you through your project and for many, many months and years to come.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks. We'll talk to you soon.